antidote. There is no antidote. There is no antidote. There is no antidote. There is no antidote.
Good evening, peculiars. It's Robbie Barnes night, so I thought I'd begin with a poem to a moosey. We sleek it curran timorous beastie. Oh, what a panic in the breastie! Thou must start away so hasty, with bracken brattle. I would be lather rain and chase thee with murder and farrel. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle. At me, thy poor earth-bound companion and fellow mortal. I doubt na whiles but thou may thieves. What then, poor beastie, thou man leave? A diamond acre in the fray of a small request. I'll get me blessing with leave, and never miss it. Thy wee bit hoosie too and ruin, is silly whiles of winds are strewing, and nothing now to big a knowing, a fog and green, and bleak December winds ensuing, baith nell and keen. Thou saw the fields laid bare and waste, and weary winter coming fast. A cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crashed the cruel coulter past, out through thy cell. That wee bit of heaves and leaves a stibble hast caught thee mony a weary nibble. Now thou'st turned out for thy trouble by house and hold, to thole the winter sleepy dribble, a cranny cold. But moosey, thou art no thy lane, in proving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes of mice and men gone off the gley, and lay us not but grief and pain for promised joy. Still thou art blessed, compared with me. The present only touches thee. But och, I backward cast me on prospects drear, and forward though I canna see, I guess in fear. Welcome. And since that's about mousies, we are here tonight to talk about pests with Bethany Brookshire, and I'm so glad all of you are here to welcome us. I don't have haggis, I do have whiskey. We also have a wonderful book cocktail, and we have Davy, who is here to welcome our author with us. Davy, hello.
Hello. I have no context for what I just heard, but I don't want any. I loved it. It was excellent.
It's a wonderful poem. He basically accidentally overturns with his plow a mouse's house right before winter. And so he's basically apologizing to the mouse, but also saying, you know, you did all this planning and it went to shit, but hey, that's kind of like human life too. So, you know, cheers to you, little mouse.
There we go.
That's the gist. But it's nice to have you here. And I know you've got exciting things planned as well coming up.
I do have some exciting things planned. Maybe next episode I might have some news for the
Might have some news.
Yeah, we'll wait till next episode.
All right, good. Well, without further ado, I think it's time to welcome our guest, Bethany Brookshire of Pests. Hi.
Ach, it's a joy to be here.
Fabulous. We didn't do bad for Burns Night, did we? I think we did.
I did my best. That was adorable. I've never actually heard it read with an accent before, so I always read it to myself like I read Shakespeare, and it doesn't ring the same.
Got it. Well, it was really nice to have that in there. And this is Leanne says that poem I close my eyes and I'm in Scotland eating haggis. Sadie says Ryan had listened to Billy Connolly. Actually, it's Billy Connolly's version that I've listened to practice. I'm off to Scotland in May, so that's good. Rebecca's with us. Kristen's with us. So she had to come back for this book. Absolutely loved it. It's what I think about quite often, just in my regular life. That's wonderful.
There's pests everywhere.
Lexi said she's working a CrossFit event in Scotland, so she can't wait. So okay, we've got Scotland, we've got pests, we've got Bethany. This is going to be a big night, guys.
Bring a net to catch your haggis. You go to Scotland, you bring a net for your haggis.
You know, they're quite pestilent up there as well. They can, you know, haggis breed like it's like tribbles.
Yeah,
up there. they're into everything. So it's very exciting to have you. I have to say this book was a joy to read. And before I get into announcements and all that other kind of stuff, it's only fair for me to ask and have you have a chance to answer just what put you on the path to pests?
You know, I would love to say that it was something like dramatic, and emotional, but it wasn't. It was nerdy, which
We
to
like that.
me,
No, that's
that's how I roll. Literally, the year was 2016. I would like to say that it was a better time, but I don't think it was. Anyway,
it was the worst of times. It was the worst of times.
yes. So it was 2016, and I was actually reporting a piece for Science News where I was on staff about the earliest known house mouse.
The earliest known house mouse. Okay.
Yeah, in the Levant, in the area that is now Israel, Palestine, Jordan. Yeah. And as part of that, I got to read this amazing paper, and the paper showed that they analyzed these tiny little mouse teeth that were in association with the very earliest houses, right? Like this was when humans first kind of set up housekeeping, and these huts were kind of like your summer home. We had summer homes in the Hamptons before we had summer homes in the Hamptons. And from the moment that humans started kind of living in permanent structures about 14,000 years ago, there were mice that were living with them. And I love that so much. I love so much that we've had house mice since we had houses.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's because it makes sense. Oh, also speaking of, we need cats when there's mice. Kathleen Richardson, sorry, that was a terrible segue, but she just popped in to say hi. She has to go work at the theater tonight, but she's the one who developed the drink, just so you know.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to try it. I saw the recipe and I made sure that I have everything. So after this.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. No, but I do love that too. I think it's very funny. I have a concept in my book, Clockwork Futures. I talk about the fact that the invention of the airplane is also the invention of the airplane crash. So there's a really funny way in which like the invention of having houses is also like the beginning of our relationship with mice. So that's really what got you into it. Is that right?
Yeah. It just grabbed me and it wouldn't let me go. I just got obsessed with these animals that live with us. And the more I started learning about these animals that live with us, the more I was struck by just how much we hate them.
Yeah.
And what I love so much about it is we hate their success.
We do.
We hate how well they do around us. We feel so bad and we love so much when we are killing off animals and they're dying and they're rare and we're like, we need to save them. But then the instant we have too many, we get real upset.
Yeah. That's very funny. That's so Homo sapiens, though. I just read a book that I'm reviewing for the Wall Street Journal called The Naked Neanderthal, and it talks all about like we're bad. We're just bad. You know, what is it? What do they say in the Matrix? With humans are a virus. I'm like, not all humans, just Homo sapiens.
That's actually been the thing that people read the book and they're like, oh my God, we're pests. And I'm like,
we are pests.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm autistic and an introvert, so people being pests, like, I feel like there's many of us peculiars who are like fist bump on that. But no, it's great. Like the book is great, and I enjoyed how it started, and I enjoyed your love affair with rats because I love a good rat. Actually, I love all creatures. I have a tendency to domesticate everything that comes my way, accidentally. And you know, at the moment there's a feral cat living in. Everyone knows this if you follow my feed at all. Alfred Wallace, our feral cat, who Darwin is semi in love with, is still living in my office, but we are soon to release him again.
I feel like the fact they have a vaguely frenemy relationship is just the epitome of like Darwin and Wallace.
That was the whole point. Like it was basically, they're both black cats. They look very similar. And when their relationship together, I was like, well, his name's Darwin, so we know what your name is going to be. Yes, but so that's going on. But I just think this morning, Mark calls me to the window. It's like, there's a skunk digging up our yard.
Oh, sweet.
Pest. I'm like, not pest, killing grubs. Good, fantastic. So, yes, I do love
Skunks
that.
will get your chicken eggs though. So
yes, but raccoons will eat your chickens. We lost 2 this year. So.
They will.
We can talk about raccoons too, which I had a pet one at one time. So the way this typically works, those of you who have joined the feed, there is a live chat that runs down the side in YouTube. We encourage you to post your questions, put a little Q in front of it like this. And that way I can find them. And we're going to come back to them. And it takes a little while. There's a little bit of a lag between you typing questions and me seeing them. So type those up while we do our announcements. But first, this is a good question to start with. the rat in your headshot. Is it yours?
So that rat is named Magrat.
Magrat.
Magrat, unfortunately, was not mine. Magrat was a friend of mine, Julie, and Julie loaned me the rat for the photo shoot. And I have to say, Magrat was a truly exceptional model. She was amazing. We posed for a solid hour. She neither pooped nor peed on me the entire time, which for a rat is incredible.
She was really holding it. She liked you.
She held it together. And the instant we put her down, she was like, oh, thank God. But unfortunately, that was taken in 2021, I think. And Magrat is gone.
Oh, right.
now.
They do not live very long lives, which is
R.I.P.
really sad.
Magrat. And she was actually elderly at the time. And in the photo, it's hard to see, but her fur was growing back in from where she'd actually recently had surgery to remove some cancerous growths, because domesticated rats are actually highly susceptible to cancer. And so she'd already had a few tumors. But she was well at that point and very happy, as you can tell. That whisker flare.
Lorelei Peterson says, I love that you have people in your life that you can borrow a prop rat from. I think that is...
I would love to have a non-prop rat. I love rats. They're really cuddly. People don't realize domesticated rats will snuggle in your armpit and in your elbow.
Oh, yeah.
But I have cats.
Right.
And that would be very stressful for both of them.
Who has it now? I'm forgetting which one of you it is. One of you has rat or has had rats, and we've talked about your rats, and I'm so sorry that my brain is blanking on who that is, but it'll come to me and we can talk about it. But yeah, they do have very short lives. It's like rats and octopi. I feel really bad when I'm like it's not fair. Like, they should live much longer. Cephalopods and rats really deserve longer lives than they actually have.
I would say that mice do too. Mice are great.
Yeah, mice have pretty short lives too. And rabbits. But I if we have enough time later, I have a ridiculous joke that I will tell you that is related to lifespan. But first, announcements, which we should get to, because otherwise I have a tendency to forget about them. So first of all, as I mentioned, please do chat with us. I see 2 questions. I've already put them in the queue. Please add your questions. Now Bethany did say at the beginning, the book doesn't have insects in it, but that doesn't mean she can't talk to you about them. In particular, apparently yellow jackets. So feel free to ask questions about that. But I think the great feed up on our Facebook feed, people have been listing the pests in their lives. One of them was like a bunch of deer. So I think that was Randy. Was it Randy who put that up? So anyway, it has been happening. So announcements, we are easy to find. You can just look up Peculiar Book Club. You'll get to my website. You can sign up for the newsletter. If you're here, chances are good you have gotten the newsletter, because that's where we send the links to the show. But it's really important to sign up for that. Our private Facebook group. So we have a Facebook page with over 10,000 followers, but the Facebook group is where we're really weird at. It's great. It's a wonderful, weird, fun conversation amongst other weird people. We also have a Discord, and our Discord, we've added a new thing, which is kind of cool. If you're a creator, you make things to sell, you write things, you do jewelry, whatever. If it's weird and you're a peculiar, there is a place on our Discord for you to share that, and people can go and shop peculiarly, and sort of support each other. We're also on bookclub.com. I love to point this out because Book Club will send you nice little reminders so that you don't forget it's happening. And you can follow us on Goodreads. So I think that's all of the places to find us. Oh, we're on Instagram as well, too. Supporting us, you can support The Weird by joining us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. It's always really, really helpful to us. It helps us pay our musicians and things. The book cocktail. Okay, first of all, the name was super fun. The winning name was, everything had peas in it for some reason. Pied Piper's Plague Punch. Plague water was a real thing, incidentally, and had some really weird stuff mixed in with it. Meh. So
was that the one that involved the urine of small children? That was definitely a medical treatment.
There were varieties. I know there was rue in Plague Water, but I'm not sure what else. So this is great. This is it's sweet, but it's interesting. And you put stuff in it that you're like, that will not go together, but then it does. It's complicated and interesting, and a lovely picture. That, again, another win from Kat, our drinks maven, who popped in a little bit ago. Davey, do we have is next for our podcast?
I think the next one is just
YouTube channel. Yeah, you should go see our YouTube channel. That's where this will be.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
And then, as you know, we do a companion
Oh my God.
podcast called the Peculiar Movie Club. And coming up in a few weeks, we pick one movie a month. So this January's movie was themed to our first book. And there probably are some good pest movies out there. We could have done Bug's Life. We could have done
Well, that's true.
Bambi. I don't know.
Ratatouille.
Pretty much
Ratatouille's
everything
right there.
everything in the Disney catalog pretty much would have worked. But for what is it? What's the book coming up in February?
Doctors and Distillers.
Camper
Doctors and
English,
Distillers,
yes.
Camper English. In fact, I got to ask him. Kat, who, as Lexi points out, continues to be an amazing mixologist for our group. We don't know if Camper has one in mind, or if we're developing one for him. It's very interesting. We'll ask him.
So the booziest movie I could possibly think of was Cocktail with Tom Cruise, 1988. So that's the movie we're going to do. It'll come out in the middle of the month in between our two episodes, February 15th. So make sure you subscribe to that podcast feed because we have some really fun, detailed conversations about movies.
Not only that, there are going to be a couple of book podcasts this year that will not be on the live feed. So we're having some folks back who've been on the show before. Of course, the minute I said that, their names flew out of my brain. I'll think about it later. And they'll only be on the podcast. So if you're subscribed to the podcast, you get extra content as well.
Now they're throwing out in the chat all the pestiest movies.
I'm seeing all the.
We could have done an elephant movie like Project Dumbo Drop, or what was that movie from the 90s? Or just Dumbo.
The Birds.
The Birds.
Ooh, the Birds with Hitch.
Well, I'm actually wearing my bat shirt because bats are often considered pest. I don't think of them that way. But they're, remember the movie with the vampire bats and they're in the cave and the peyote and all? I can't remember what it's called.
I also got on one show I got to watch. It was about were-rabbits, giant human-eating rabbits. It's like the night of the. I don't remember that.
There's some good ones out there. The like Velocipastor, that one, the raptor that's a pastor that's a weird one too.
Oh, you're talking, weird movies. I got you.
Yeah, very weird movie. But some people do think of bats as pests, particularly people who get them in their houses. So my unofficial role in college, because I'd handled bats when I was in high school, was sort of like bat saver from people who were going to like murder them in their houses. So that was I think you're not supposed to touch or physically handle bats. But we had means of catching them without hurting them. So
I've used a shoebox before to great effect.
Yeah, that was literally the end of your book, right? Getting the raccoon out of the house.
Oh yeah.
It was basically acting like a bat, right? It was.
Yeah.
And I had a pet. I did have a pet. There's a were-rabbits. Okay.
Night of the Leafus. That was it. Yes, thank you. That was it.
Rebecca Gibson.
Thank you.
Were-rabbits. I love that.
I will never recover from having seen that movie. Never.
I try to keep the movies a little mainstream so everyone can find them, but I feel like I could just go as weird as possible and you would all be with me.
We would all be with you. We would follow you. Now, Sarika talks about Daniel Krause was on our podcast, but now will be joining us for a live show. So you never know what, sometimes it's like you're getting a little snit pick. No, that's what I meant. Sneak peek. Thank you. Yeah, that's the word. That's the way you pronounce that. He'll be coming back. Sorry. My brain short-circuited. That's weird. So I have some first questions for you already started and lined up. So the first one, and some of these are comments, but also questions, is Kristen Meston says, your book had the most names in the acknowledgements that I've ever seen. How long did you work on this book?
Thank you. Thank you for noticing. Because I know a lot of people in acknowledgements, like I've seen acknowledgements that are like this big, that are just like mostly personal and like, thank you to all the sources. Sure. And I felt like that was unfair because some of my sources were incredible. Like one of the people who I quoted in the book, drove me around Kenya for 2 weeks. Like, yeah. And like, and other people, it was just like a conversation, but some people hosted me for days. I mean, people were amazing. There are around 270 sources, I think. And, and as for how long I was working on it, I had 18 months to write the book.
That's how long I wrote mine in. And can we just talk about how that should never ever be a thing ever? Like that should not be a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was again to bring the best of times, the worst of times. Did I have the most fun that I've ever had
Sure.
in a job? Yes.
Did you spend time on the floor crying though? Because I talk about this every time. Like there's
I'm
like
not-
when you have
I'm-
only 18 months to write a book, there has to be the times where you lie on the floor staring at the ceiling going,
that's not how I deal with stress.
I didn't actually cry, but I did stare at the ceiling quite a bit.
That's not really how I deal with stress, but I definitely had that vibe. The way I tend to deal with stress is I outline my way out of it. And
I'm autistic. I just functionally shut down for a period of time.
I do that. I functionally shut down, and then I like take to social media, which is never good.
Yeah,
but you can see over this shoulder is the edge of my chalkboard. And so when I'm just like facing a book, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't, it's too much. I actually outline chapter by chapter, and I do it in a graphical format because I'm that person.
Got it.
And so
I love hearing this kind of stuff.
It's really, really nerdy. And I basically like outline it in big triangle shapes. They were originally inverted U's until I showed a picture of it to my mother, and she said, "Why do you have penises all over your chalkboard?" And then I couldn't unsee it. So now it's triangles.
You're in the right place to have a chalkboard full of penises, though. We spend a lot of time talking about like penises, cloacas, vaginas. It's a big deal on this show, actually. We cover it all.
I figured
clitori. Clitori? Is that the plural of? Not sure how that works.
I think it's clitorises.
Clitorises. It's a shame it's not clitori. That rhymes with more things. You could put it in a lot more poetry.
It would be nicer. Yeah. I just love
like
the idea that
like
something could be like a clitororum would make me
like
very
the
happy.
Illuminati, right? Like the clitorati could be like
ooh, yes. If anyone wants to form a conspiracy group called the Clitorati, I volunteer to join.
Very nice. I like that. We'll back burner that. One of our peculiars will probably pick that up. I feel confident that someone will grab that.
I'm looking forward to the merch.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm pretty sure Clitorati won a Grammy for best R&B album this year.
And the mic has been dropped. Today, Davey is the absolute unit. Okay. Abigail Schroeder question says, given how packed this book was, packed in like rats, right? Pack rats. I'm sorry. I desperately need to know what your favorite things are that didn't make it into the book. Because there's always some, right?
Oh man. There's a lot. So I'm sure you have introduced people to this concept before, the concept of dead darlings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kill your darlings is the phrase that we use. Destroy what you love.
Kick the puppy.
So
don't kick puppies, but that's one.
Yeah. And so I actually have folders in my book folder, because I do everything by folders. I'm that person. It's weird. I know. But I have folders called Dead Darlings in every single one of my chapters. But there are entire actual chapters that never happened. So for example, I was really interested in seagulls. I was really, really interested in crows. Particularly
I almost wore my crow shirt. I thought about it. I did think about it.
Love some crows.
Yeah.
Certainly a piece that I actually fully wrote and fully edited and then ended up cut was actually a whole piece on the concept of the mouse and the idea of the mouse as a pest, and how, because it was a pest, we are now using it in laboratories.
Right.
And I kept that bit in, but it was actually much larger, because there was a whole thing. C.C. Little, the founder of the Jackson Laboratory, which is the world's largest purveyor of lab mice now, they have like more than 10,000 strains of mice, most of them on ice, of course. But because Mice on Ice is the Disney
in my
show
head, they are skating, just so you know, like they're in costumes and skating in my brain. So I don't know what that.
I back this. I need this in my life. But yes, so let's do a little list. But yes, so C.C. Little was trying to kind of sell the house mouse to the world. Mm-hmm. And the way that stayed in the book was he wrote an editorial for Scientific American that opened with the line, "Do you like mice? Of course you don't." And then went on to say that mice would be heroes of medicine. And it's really wild, because mice have still been marketed to this day as heroes of medicine.
Okay, it's true. I do stop motion animation. Abigail, don't give me ideas.
I love this.
I have books to write. There's a whole conversation here about the people in the Vagina Museum being called the clitorati, and someone asking what they call members of the Phallological Museum. And I love this group so much.
I got to go to the Phallological Museum at one point, and it was amazing.
Apparently, Mice on Ice is a children's book already.
That's
wow.
so cute.
Mice on ice. That doesn't mean what they think it means. Now, I really hope that you open that book and it's just like dead mice on ice, and they're like,
no, the mice are dead. No. What's on ice is their sperm, which is even worse, really.
Oh, this is such a much more interesting children's book, really.
I've gotten to film plenty of medical things working at Case Western Reserve University, and one of them is the machine that takes the slices of the frozen mice. So like it was like 2/3 of the way through slicing thin sheets of mice. And
I used that when I was writing my dissertation. I used that for brains because I was checking probe placement because I was an animal neurosurgeon. Long story. Anyway, but yes, the one thing I mainly remember about using that microtome slicer, which is a fun thing to use, but be careful. That blade is diamond, and if it cuts to the bone. I know a guy.
Know a guy. Well, it's just because I feel like I need to get the brain book in here too. They use something very similar to cut up Lenin's brain.
Yes, they did.
Small pieces. So yeah.
And HM's brain when he finally passed.
Oh, that's right. Yep. For science. That's not why they were cutting up Lenin's brain. It was not for science. I mean, it was for science. Sadie Simmons says, the thing is, pests or friends. Because I sit in my yard and I talk to the deer like they're my best therapist, and it's true. I am terrible for this, Sadie. I literally make friends of everything in my yard. I have named everything. We have pet rabbits. Any rabbit that gets born in my yard gets such good care that they don't leave. So like we have generations of rabbits that now live in my yard. Yeah.
If not friend, why friend-shaped?
Is it just your personality that determines whether they're a pest or your friend? I mean, that's
yes and no. I would say it's much more culture that determines that, because what I argue actually in the book is, and if you want to talk about deer, there's an entire chapter on deer. And
we call ours deer rats, actually.
And I think the thing that makes an animal a pest is not the animal itself. The thing that makes an animal a pest is what we want and what we expect about that animal. If the animal is in a place that we don't expect it, is in a place that we don't want it, then suddenly we will do basically anything to get rid of it. Like our concept of ethics is gone.
like I would never hurt another living, so I'm a vegetarian. Rat traps everywhere.
Get out the poison, man. We're done. Yeah, and so it's really about what humans want and what humans believe belongs in their environments, right? We have a very strong belief that human environments that we have built, are supposed to be animal free unless we bring domesticated animals into them. And so when animals arrive and we have not invited them, we're suddenly really, really upset. Also, I love that someone mentioned the Chicago rat hole. Love that thing. It's probably a squirrel. I hate to tell you this, but I love it so much.
Squirrels can be, that's an interesting one too, because I don't find my squirrels to be pests, but they can be, of course, if you don't keep them as well fed as mine are kept. So
I have a squirrel. So my book actually opens with my own squirrel. Can I cuss on this show? Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do that all the time.
So the squirrel's name is fucking Kevin.
Oh yeah, wait, there's a question. There it is.
Fucking
Kevin. I had Siri read the Kindle book to me on the app before I finally got a Kindle, and I could not stop laughing.
Well, if you're interested in audio, may I highly recommend the audiobook, because I didn't read it.
I'm listening to the audiobook right now. Did you listen to it, Davey?
Yeah, the audiobook's very good.
It's really great.
Isn't she good? I thought she was really good. I picture her for her dry wit. So fucking Kevin is a gray squirrel, Sciurus carolinensis. He lives in my yard. I cannot say necessarily how he is, because I'm pretty sure that this is like the Batman, right? Different squirrels don the mask at various times. And certainly in my garden, I have seen fucking Kevin stand up and reveal a set of prominent nipples. So fucking Kevin is a gender neutral term.
Right.
I can say that last scene, fucking Kevin was eating my fall pumpkins.
There you go. Whereas we
Available.
buy pumpkins for our versions of Kevin's. We actually, so we had red squirrels and we had white-bellied squirrels, and there was this big contest, and the red squirrels won, and we started naming
I'm
all of them
surprised the
Bruce and
red squirrels
Sheila.
won. That's rare.
They aren't red squirrels; they're all fox squirrels. It's just
Oh,
one set
okay.
of fox squirrels was more red than the other ones, and the other one had white bellies, and so we named all the males Bruce and all the females Sheila.
You know, when I was in a mouse lab, those were the male and female names for my mice.
Oh, how funny! Oh, funny. The
It wasn't
squirrels are
Bruce,
the only ones that
the
don't
girls
get.
were all Sheila. I forget
Okay,
what the boys were, but the girls were all Sheila.
I give independent names for most of our animals. Like there's Randolph the raccoon, and there's Steve the skunk, and like most of them have actual name. Abigail the rabbit, plus Ziggy Stardust because he's got a little star on his head. But right, it's adorable. But yeah,
I don't
for
know if
some
you
reason
can
I
hear it,
just
but
decided all the squirrels were
my own
Bruce.
personal pest, my cat, is currently giving her barbaric yawp into the universe right now outside the door.
Or yawp in the universe.
That Kevin chapter spoke to me because I actually can grow great tomatoes, but it was going to make salsa and hot sauce, and I didn't have time to do any of that. So I feel like our gardens are like we should share. Like I could give you my tomatoes.
So this past year I went in hard. I invested. I got a gardener's cage. I have a full professional gardener's cage because I built a regular one, and it worked for about a week. Then they got in.
Yeah.
And so then I got a professional level one with like metal and everything. And that I put it up and I was feeling real proud of myself. It took like 4 hours to get the whole thing installed. Went to my friend Tina's. Hi Tina, if you're here. Anyway, I went to my friend Tina's, and 45 minutes later I get a text from my partner saying, "Hey, this is happening." And he sends me a photo, and inside the cage there is a squirrel, and the squirrel was inside and had gotten stuck and could not figure out how to get back out of it, and was bouncing back and forth like a panicked hairy ping pong ball inside the cage. And so he had to go let it out. And then it got in again. It got in again.
So we don't normally think of hawks as pests, but we have a chicken coop, which is a fully fenced in chicken thing in addition to the big fenced in chicken yard. And somehow Herbert has ended up Herbert the hawk, yes, has ended up in the chicken cage twice, and he doesn't know how to get out. And so I have physically
there was no panic
up,
like a
I have
bird with a
with my
4-foot
hands,
wingspan.
my bare hands, picked up this animal and carried him out. And what's funny is that hawks, they're used to being predators, but they're sort of predators in a top-down kind of way. And if they're stuck and you have to pick them up, they don't know what to do. They just go limp and look around like, I'm done. This is beyond, I have no experience with this. So they don't get feisty or anything. You just carry them around. It's very strange.
Yeah.
I think at this point you don't need any more security. You just need webcams so we can watch this. That's at this point you might as well just give in to nature, right?
Pretty much. I did find out that if you put out bowls of water, they are less likely to eat your tomatoes.
That's useful. That's one I hadn't heard.
Yeah, they often go after tomatoes because they want the moisture.
Yeah, I actually do have on video. I put it on TikTok of Kevin getting in and bouncing around inside like a ping pong ball, and me having to let him out. I was so angry.
Okay.
I recently took up archery, and now I'm like,
ooh, shrimp or shrimp, yeah.
Kebabs,
yeah. Put another squirrel on the Barbie. So Randy Trent has a question which is disturbing, and I'm almost hesitant to put it up here. Your book was such a great read. Did you ever confirm that you extracted the whole mosquito from your ear?
No. So you have to understand, I had been hunting Burmese pythons in the Everglades all night. So
of course, as people do.
As one does. The hunt started at sundown, so like 8:30 p.m. at that time. And I don't know when the mosquito entered, but we finished around 4 or 5 in the morning, and I get back to my hotel room, but my flight left at 10. So I only had like an hour or two to get some sleep. So I slept first. I like collapsed on the bed and just slept. And then I get up and I take a shower, and all of a sudden I'm like, what's in, oh no. And this mosquito, the mosquito was dead by that point. Presumably suffocated in my earwax. Good riddance.
Good. I mean, that's what earwax is for.
Doing its job. But yeah, I as far as I could tell, it had all its legs and wings and everything. So I think I got the whole thing.
That's good.
But thank you for asking.
Yeah, that's positive. Sadie said red-tailed hawks sound like seagulls. Seagulls are something else, aren't they?
They are.
Aren't
something
they?
else.
Because like have you seen them swallow whole rabbits? That's just very disturbing. That's
Yeah.
uncanny shit right there.
You know,
That's
people and
not
birds in general have swallowing reflexes that I think most people really don't appreciate.
I have chickens.
Mhm,
My
mhm.
chickens found a nest of mice, and watching a chicken swallow live
whole
mice
mouse.
whole is just like real disturbing. It
Yep.
really, they're little dinosaurs. Is what they
I
are.
know, and it's so funny because people panic and there's all these news stories when a Burmese python eats a deer, and I'm like, have you seen a chicken eat a rat?
You can tell. I'm like, yes, birds and reptiles are definitely related. That's not difficult for me, I don't think. Kristen Meston says, which pest do you most want to convince people is really not a pest? She said hers might be coyotes.
All of them.
All of the aw.
All of them.
Aw.
Well, okay, that's not true. I have to put in a plug for my favorite, and don't tell the others.
Okay.
But pigeons are my favorite.
Oh, I actually follow there's a pigeon Facebook group that I follow, which is yes. And some of you peculiars have probably seen me retweet some of or repost some of the things that they put up there. It's just all about like respect the pigeon. There's a
Well, and that's the thing that I think really gets me is the pigeon story is so tragic. Right? It's really sad.
Oh, I know. Oh. Okay, Abigail, we got to talk about this for a minute. Says everyone of nothing. The selection of books on Bethany's bookcase behind her is so exceptional that I keep getting distracted by reading the titles. Can you give us a full screen on that, Davey? There we go.
Oh yeah, I can. There's actually. There you go.
Aw, Big Chicken.
Yeah.
Spillover.
Yeah, that's David Quammen. Hidden Figures, Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, of course.
Of course.
Poisoner's Handbook, Deborah Bloom. For Lost Cities, Annalee Newitz. Carl Zimmer's Life's Edge.
So, a lot of these people have also been on our show.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's Immense World. We got that up there too.
Got
a lot of
yeah, and Fuzz is over here. Yeah.
For Lost Cities, we did that with Annalee Newitz too. Yeah.
I will say, the stack up here with Immense World, this whole stack here is what I call my shame stack, which is the stack of books that I have been intending to read.
I totally. Oh, you are one of us, says Lexi.
Also, is that because of the shame stack or?
Great minds think alike. Also, can we get up a close up of the earrings? Sadie asked.
Yeah. So that's one side. This is the other. They are the same earring. I'm just wearing them in different holes of my ears.
Oh, I got it.
But my friend makes them. They are chainmail.
Oh, very cool. Oh, Anthro Girl just got here. You know what? A couple of you have, I think Jennifer Pierce and Anthro Girl both got here a little bit late. You guys missed me reading To a Mouse by Robbie Burns in Robbie Burns' accent. You should probably go back and watch that at some point. Probably a good idea.
But yeah, if you like these, she's Redstone Sisters on Etsy.
Redstone Sisters.
And the chainmail is made of aluminum, so it's super light. I'm currently having her make me a necklace going into a collar that is just going to go all the way.
Strangely enough, I follow her page already, so I don't.
Do you really? That's my friend Naomi. She's amazing.
Surprised by the fact that I would follow a chainmail artist. That's not surprising. That's just par for the course.
Well, I mean, there are probably a lot of chainmail artists out there. That's why I was surprised.
Yeah, no, the name sounds familiar, and I also want to. Actually, I would like actual chainmail. That would just be rad, wouldn't it? Just walk around, and be like.
But the aluminum is even better because you don't want to wear the full weight stuff.
I don't know. It could be like a workout, sort of.
Oh, it would be, and potentially it could be like wearing a weighted blanket all the time.
Yeah, maybe. Like I wonder if it would pinch your nipples. I guess you might need like a chainmail guard.
Oh, you can wear a gambeson under it.
Oh, you can just not just
no
flat out on not begin.
Knights never did that. No, no. There's a big cotton.
Yours wasn't a limit then.
Yeah, there's a big cotton gambeson that goes underneath like a big thick cotton shirt.
Knights were infamous for their sensitive nipples.
You know what? Yeah. Right. Like they probably invented nipple cups, I bet. Yeah. Bethany needs to come back and hang with us. One of us, Sadie is repeating. And what I love about this, okay, is that Bethany, you realize Rebecca Gibson is here because we stole Rebecca. Rebecca always has to come back now. So, you have to be on the show now. You have to come back in the audience. Like you have no choice. I'm sorry.
I'm so in. And also, Rebecca, I get it. I try to keep them on the very, very light side. These are extremely light. I actually was going to wear a pair of ammonites that my mom got me. Unfortunately, they are way too heavy. They're chonky. I'm going to have to do something else with those.
Knight's Nipples, I think, is a good band name.
Or Cocktail.
Yeah, or cocktail. Yeah, nights are just like Drax, very sensitive nipples. I like that. Okay, so we have arrived at the half point in our show. So I want to get to. I mean, this is way too much fun, but we really need to have a little music. So we have a person, a peculiar in the field, named Cord Ravenswood, who goes out there for us, really, to discover things. And he was quite moved by your book and has written a song just for you. So yeah, so here we go.
Oh, hey there, peculiars, it's me, Cord Ravenswood, your peculiar in the field, going far and then farther. And I recently went as far as Miss Cinderspeck, my confidant and aide's home. And when I entered the front door, I saw that there was a little spider web in the corner, and I said, Miss Cinderspeck, if you would like, I will gladly take care of that spider for you. And she said, no, Cord. I'd let there be a spider by the front door, and I'd let there be a spider by the back door, and I'd let there be a spider by the window over there. And I said, Miss Cinderspeck, why do you let there be pests in your home? And she said, now, Cord, they're not pests, don't be hyperbolic. And she proceeded to tell me that she lets the spiders be there because any other insects that come in through the doors or the window, those spiders take care of them. They earn their keep. They protect their home. They are indeed not pests. And it got me thinking about the way that perceptions change over time. Way out west where the driftwood dries, where the driftwood dries, way out west where the driftwood dries, and it changes before our eyes. A fox in the hen house, oh no, a fox in a Disney movie, that's a go. Maybe there's a medium we could find, where the fox is a friend we let pass by. And down in the ocean, there are vents, boiling up tsunamis with shifting stents. Round the rim, we will find more bacterial biodiversity than all Earth's history combined. Now I sing songs of defiance in defense of the pests I've come to admire. I think people should be for the science, even as they live by a brook in a shire. Cutting down the forest, chop chop, how many cures may then be lost? And all of the pests we cannot bear could live in the forest we just leave there. For I have read there are winners who adapt to whatever comes, and it's not their fault that their dinners are found by scrounging through our crumbs. Cutting down the people to be the boss, how many geniuses have been lost? How we treat pests, we may find, is how we treat our humankind. So way out west where the driftwood dries, where the driftlewood dries, way out west where the driftlewood dries, and it changes before our eyes. So there you have it, friends. I learned a valuable lesson from Miss Cinderspeck that day. Oh, and then she gave me some very peculiar tea, and I woke up the next day. And all of my... well, that's a story for another time. Until next time, peculiars, as always, I'm Cord Ravenswood, your peculiar in the field, going far and then farther. Toodaloo!
Unless if you lived in a brook, by a brook in a shire.
That was cute beyond all belief. That was
Yes, Cord is always with us to tell us many interesting things out there in the world of science.
How do I get a recording of that? I need that.
Oh, well, it'll be on the show. It'll
Okay.
be in the podcast too. But yes, I can ask him if you want to. He does. Our previous favorite, I think, wasn't it Goatman? Wasn't that what everybody's favorite? The Goatman song. I don't. Saving Yellowstone was what he's fun.
I was watching the chat and seeing the amazing props to the spider name Sir Legs-a-Lot. Amazing. A plus.
So legs a lot. No, people have been asking for. I did tell Cord. I was like, it's been a little while since you've been on here. I also have told Lady Paws, y'all. I've told Lady Paws that it's time for him to do some more skits with us. So hopefully this year we'll. Oh, speaking of skits, I think we might have one. Is that so, Davey?
Yeah, this book really spoke to me because they have a lot of those critters living around here, and I have a dog named many of the peculiars know named Kenobi who likes to chase many of those pests away.
Yes.
But there was one pest in particular that you mentioned that really spoke to me, and I decided to do a little video about them. So you think deer are pests? You think garden-killing squirrels or hungry elephants are pests? Bethany hinted at it in her book Pests, but I'm going to call them out. The real pests are HOAs. Always running around telling me what height my fence can be, what plants I can have in my garden, what color my front door has to be. They will literally come over and measure your garden beds to make sure it's to their arbitrary codes. And why do I have to chip in for a community snowplow service when the damn thing never comes? You could be barricaded in by snow, and they'll send out an email saying, "We're sorry, but the contract states unless it looks like the planet Hoth, the snowplow doesn't have to come." And this is even if they'll let you have a fence. My HOA claims we are an obstruction-free community, which means I have to play Frisbee with Kenobi on faith that no rabbit would be stupid enough to show themselves while we are outside. And do you want any information from these people? Good luck. Try going to that one meeting they hold a year and ask a question, and have a group of 70-year-olds turn on you like you just told them the shows on CBS are terrible and they really need to change the station. No one can possibly think young Sheldon is funny. They've got 2 jobs. Keep the sign in the front of the neighborhood looking nice, maybe put some lights on it during the holidays, and stay out of my business.
Kenobi's final shot there, heroic. The hero we need.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Did you clock where the Frisbee was in that photo with Kenobi?
No.
It was on the roof of the house.
Grumpy Davy is best Davy, says Kristen.
Oh, Grumpy Davy's a thing, yeah.
Grumpy Davy is a thing.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once, and I'm going to tell the story because Davy and I have worked together for a long time, and he was filming, and the old name is for
Shayna.
Shayna soundboard. So I walked in, and Shayna is there, and she's like, I was like, "Hey, Shayna," and she's like, Davy comes by, and he's like winding cords, like, and I was like, "What happened?" And she's like, I was like, "Ooh, Grumpy Davy."
Aggressive cord winding is like the most suburban dad anchor.
It's a thing in our business. It's a thing. Yeah,
it's pretty great. The pest is the criminalized animal species, right? Channeling Mary Roach, animal, vegetable, criminal, which was
the
her
book
original
title. It should have been.
Yeah. The book title it should have been. Yes. Mary Roach, by the way, y'all, Mary Roach is going to host. So we've got some guest authors who are coming in as me, like being me in the show and hosting them. And Mary Roach is hosting Daniel Krauss later this year, which is super fun.
She's so awesome.
She is. And Lindsay Fitzharris is hosting, and Rebecca, who is here, is hosting. And she's hosting Liz Faber for The Computer's Voice, which I ended up mentioning like on some podcast I was doing. I was like, "You guys don't know this?" Yeah.
I've got such a good movie picked out for that one.
And of course, Kenobi is a damn handsome dog. It's so true. He's made it to the stop motion, as you all saw. Mm-hmm. Kenobi in there. So
I was thinking of doing a video of Kenobi like literally chasing rabbits out. It's not the right time of year for it though. Summertime, right. We could have done a video like that.
Yeah. No, at the moment, the only thing that's really plaguing me is the fact that I really want my office back from Wallace, who is living still in there. Yeah. He likes me. He bit Mark. Oops. So anyway, a couple more questions. Feel free to fill them in. But while you're doing that, we also have something special planned for you, Bethany. Every author gets their very own Davy quiz.
Yeah, that's right. We put together a little quiz for you. Now, I'm doing a different format. I think I haven't done this since season 1. This is going to be Family Feud style.
Oh, love it.
So top 6 answers on the board. This is according to strawpoll.com, so maybe not the most scientific, but this is what they considered the top 6 cartoon mice of all time.
Very
So let me
nice.
get my little family feud, and the peculiars will help you out. Top 6 answers on the board. Bethany, who do you think the most famous cartoon mice are? And specifically just mice, not rats.
I just love like a test. You brought me a test. It's a sign that you truly know me. I get a test. I'm gonna say Mickey Mouse up there.
Show me Mickey Mouse. Oh, I ended the slideshow.
Oh, you've got Mickey.
There we go. Number 1. Yes.
So
Kristen's
let's see.
saying
Yeah, Jerry. Definitely.
Show me Jerry.
I mean, I love Fievel, but I don't know if he's enough of a big cultural phenomenon.
That's true.
Do
What
you
about?
think?
Oh, we've got 2 votes.
Mighty
for
Mouse. Mighty Mouse.
Show me
Mouse.
Mighty Mouse.
Oh no, Mighty Mouse. Oh my goodness.
Speedy Gonzalez says.
Is
Sadie.
Minnie Mouse in there?
Minnie? Yeah, Minnie got.
Show me Minnie Mouse.
Oh, she is there.
There we
Good.
go, there we go.
Abigail and Rebecca both suggested that.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Show me Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh,
Andale, arriba. I
Yeah,
use
yeah.
anytime someone's being slow on a walk, I call him Slowpoke Rodriguez. I can't. That's just planted in his cousin. His opposite. It's planted in my
Oh,
brain.
yeah.
yeah,
It's
so
funny
we could
'cause, like,
suggest
I'm
Remy
thinking of-
from
So
Ratatouille.
Remy's a rat, though. He's
Oh,
not a
that's
mouse.
true. That's true. Does he?
I
count
love Remy. Remy is like one of my favorite characters of all time, but he's
other mice.
because he
What about
appreciates
What
cheese
about
on
the
same
ones
level
that
I
do
do.
like? They're the adventurers. They ride a.
Oh
Cross
yes.
something. What are those called?
And then the white one, she's white and pretty.
Yeah, she's white and pretty, and he's like
and like
brown.
looks like she's wearing fur all the time, even when she is maybe actually wearing fur, which
They're,
a mouse wearing
kinda
fur is really
flies,
awkward.
they're mice. Oh, there's
Ah,
Gus from Cinderella.
Gus.
The Rescuers. That's
The
what
rescuers. That's what they're called.
Show me the rescuers.
Oh
Gotta be
no!
Pinky and the Brain.
Show me Pinky and the Brain.
Yes.
Oh, they are there. Oh my gosh. So Anther Girl suggested Gus from
I
Cinderella.
like Gus.
Show me Gus.
Oh no!
Last one. I haven't heard the name yet. The last one floating out there. This is the one I would have missed. I was not from.
What about Mighty Mouse? Did we look for that one
Did
already?
we look for Mighty Mouse? Mighty Mouse wasn't there. I remember.
Oh, it wasn't there. Okay. I'm disappointed that the Rescuers weren't on this board.
Again, it's
They're a little niche,
strawpoll.com.
they're a
So
What,
I'm the
what
most
about
scientific.
Danger Mouse? Danger Mouse. What about Danger Mouse?
Danger Mouse.
Show me Danger Mouse.
What about
I'll give you a hint. Think.
What about so usually they're rats, but in the Nutcracker, sometimes they're depicted as mice.
Think red sports car, red convertible, a book turned into a movie. Pretty sure it's a character turned into a movie. Yes,
Small.
you're on the right.
Small. It's
You're
not
on the right
small.
track.
Stuart Little. Stuart Little.
Stuart Little.
No, he's Stuart Little. There we go.
Mr.
It just
Small.
the
Nice
name
to
was
meet
not the name. When you said book turned into a movie, I was like, someday Redwall.
you.
And then it would just be a food show. It would just be a cooking show that vaguely is disguised as a movie.
It was Remy was on here at number 7, but he doesn't count. I couldn't put him on there. Yeah.
What kind of animals?
Feifel Mousekowitz was number 8. Great name.
Okay.
Mighty Mouse was 9. Tom Thumb was 10.
Oh,
Tom Thumb.
Tom Thumb.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot
There
he
you
was
go.
a mouse.
I forgot he was a mouse too. That's not.
Pretty good job. It's a challenging quiz. Usually it's only
Yeah,
3
it's actually
questions.
it's probably hidden back here,
that was
but I
6
did
questions.
read
That
a
was
lot of
pretty good.
mouse content.
That was pretty great. Woo!
I read a bunch of like mouse literature for my for research for the book, and one of them was Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim.
I loved that book. I didn't care for the movie, but I thought the book was amazing.
I have not seen the book. I have not seen the movie, but weirdly, I have to say, as someone who studied mice and rats and was funded by the National Institutes of Mental Health, that book hits different.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. Oh, and The Great Mouse Detective was not on there, but frankly should have been.
Should have been.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouse.
Honestly,
mice
like I have a special place in my heart for Fievel, who I was like deeply into as a child, which I think says something. But
It could.
It might be my favorite mouse name, Feifel Mouskowitz. Like that's just perfect.
I loved Frisbee, Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. Though I really identified with the rats more than Miss Frisbee, but I was very into it as a kid.
I really appreciate Mrs. Frisbee as like nobody thinks when they think of like, you know, characters that are like single moms in literature. Mrs. Frisbee.
Yeah,
She was out there. She was raising her
pile of
brood, including her sickly little son.
I mean, like seriously, that's a lot of children. She had like what was it
Single
like?
mom who works 2 jobs.
I just looked over at the comments and realized there's 54 comments since I've last looked at it. You guys were that quiz got you going.
It did. What was the mouse that made it made a genius and it wore off? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, Algernon.
Algernon. See, we know a lot about mice.
Flowers for Algernon. That's it.
Not a serious question because the government sucks, but how do we get the government to pay for more wildlife overpasses and bear-proof bins and so forth?
Oh man, that's such a good question. The short answer is I don't know, but I can speculate.
Good.
So I can tell you that, for example, the state of California recently funded a bunch of wildlife passes and wildlife. There was a huge wildlife overpass was just opened in LA. Entirely because, and this gives me conflicted feelings, but entirely because of P22, the mountain lion.
Oh, okay.
And RIP P22. But it gives me conflicted feelings because I firmly am not sure that our deep anthropomorphization and worship of specific animals is good for them or good for us. I think it doesn't.
Build more bridges.
But it could help us build more bridges. So certainly that's something that a lot of people are seeing funded at the state level and not the federal level. So it's absolutely something that states might be interested in.
I'm going to ask the question just in case any other peculiars are out there wondering and maybe a little shy to ask. How do we get the animals to use the animal overpasses?
So this has actually been a problem. And have you guys heard that there is actually a book out about animal overpasses and underpasses?
Do they make the animals read it? Because I feel like that's not a good strategy.
No. So I'm trying to remember the name. It's absolutely, but people loved it. It came out last year. I have not read it yet because I'm a bad person, but it's but yeah, basically I actually ended up taking a class from one of the fathers of the animal overpass, Richard T.T. Foreman. He is a professor in the School of Architecture at Harvard. I got to take a class with him. He's a delightful person. And his specialty is road ecology. And the answer is sometimes you build the underpass or the overpass, and sometimes it doesn't work and you have to build a new one.
Oh God. Yeah, because you have to build it along their natural routes, right?
You need to analyze the natural routes, and you also need to think about, like, for example, when they first built overpasses, they built them like they were pedestrian overpasses. It was just like a bridge. And like a deer is not going to go over a concrete bridge.
Right.
It needs to be wide and full of trees and grass so it doesn't look like a bridge. That's it. Crossings.
Is this one? Okay.
Crossings. Okay.
So I haven't read it yet, but I'm sure it's excellent. It's been getting amazing reviews.
About a woman who complained about the placement of deer crossing signs because they were bad places for deer to cross.
You know what? I feel the same thing about school crossing signs, man. Could children just cross somewhere else?
Seriously, right? So true story though, because I have this feral cat living in my house, and we're trying to get him to. We've got this little cat condo, and I'm trying to teach him to use the cat condo and up to the upper part of the box, which is where I'm feeding him. And so, like, it's been this bizarre, like, cats are very habitual creatures. So you get him to do it a couple times, then it's like, oh, that's where I go to get my.
This is where I go now.
Yeah, so it does feel like we need like a little Pied Piper type person to be like, this way to the bridge.
Certainly, they've changed the structures of them. So one of the things they have to change for like underpasses in particular is they have to make the endings of them really wide. So they're kind of like these hourglass shapes.
Yeah.
Because if you're a prey animal, you will not go somewhere where you can't see what's around you.
Well, that makes sense.
Because prey. Right, you need good sight lines, and so they had to open up the sight lines on these overpasses and underpasses. They had one that they built an overpass for a bunch of turtles before realizing that turtles are not gravitating to high spaces. And so they had to build an underpass instead.
Interesting. I had a crow use a crosswalk in front of my car the other day, says Kristen messed up. Well, yes, crows do. Crows hilariously will use stoplights. They're like with walnuts. You've seen this?
Yes, that's a big thing.
Well,
Especially there's
when
a
the
town in
lights are
Japan.
green,
that's kind
everybody
of
runs
famous
over
for
the
that.
walnuts. The light turns red. They go down and they get the nuts. Yeah. So anyhow, but yeah, animals will. But yeah, they're not gonna like. We didn't ask. We need more animals on design teams. That's basically what it comes down to.
We really do, and we need more knowledge of animal behavior in how we design things. That's actually kind of something that I took away from my book, is that we have designed so many of our spaces for humans, right? Like humans obey stop signs, right? We obey red lights most of the time. We walk on the sidewalk, right? But we don't design spaces to include animals in the same way.
Yeah.
Right? We think of designing gardens for us. We don't think of whether or not deer might like them. We design, water places, like water features and stuff for our own enjoyment, and we don't think about what birds could get out of them.
Right.
We need more animals on our design teams.
Some of it is that I grew up in a hole in the ground, literally, and are surrounded by animals. So it always is interesting to me. Like I had a raccoon as a pet. Like there's a lot of things I know about animals that I just assume other people know. And then like you get in-laws and stuff and you find out that is not, and other people, not just them. And you realize that, a lot of people have not been raised around animals and don't know what to expect.
But it's joyful. I love being the first person to tell somebody that a squirrel can rotate their ankles 180 degrees. It's great.
Or then there's one cat. I loved it that some cats can and some can't. Some wild cats can and some can't, and so
but domestic cats cannot.
Domestic cats can really, for real, not.
Yeah,
not at all.
Which I love because a squirrel leads a cat up a tree, and then the squirrel is like up higher in the tree, just like.
Yeah, because the cat's like, oh, whoops.
Oh, behold the consequences of my actions.
No, not those. My gosh, we have literally come to the end of our hour already, which just doesn't seem fair, frankly. But Rebecca, she's like, I can rotate my ankle that way too, but I have Ehlers-Danlos.
Yeah, I can also, because I was a ballerina, my ankles rotate surprisingly far.
Yeah. I just have loose connective tissue. I don't have Ehlers-Danlos exactly, but yeah, my bones just move out of the way in general if things happen. But yeah. We've run to the end of our hour, which was easy to do because this is an absolutely brilliant book. I agree with Kristen. That's adored every second of this book. Thank you for writing it, Bethany.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah, we're so glad that you came on. We hope you will come back as a guest, as a participant, as a member of our audience. It would be fantastic.
It was a super fun time, not gonna lie.
Aren't these people great? They're great.
Super awesome.
Are great. They're so great. A few last words for all of you. So some fun things are happening. I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. So my book is launching on February 13th, The Framed Women of Ardmore House, which is fiction, which I don't normally write fiction, but it is mystery fiction and it's lovely. It's got a autistic protagonist and people are murdered and a painting goes missing and there's a Gothic house. You're going to love it. Anyway, there's a sale today and tomorrow. If you go to Barnes & Noble, they're giving people 25% off. And that includes the ebook, the audiobook, everything from the pre-orders. So I just wanted to tell you that. And
pre-orders matter. They matter a lot.
Oh my God, do they, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, so that book's coming out. The other thing I want to mention is, I don't know if you probably do. You like weird shows. I assume you guys like weird shows. There's a new show out called The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd. I am on this show with Dan Aykroyd. And so on episode 7, episode 8, and I think episode 10. So I talk about the monkey heads on episode 8. So I talk about some poisons and people using like slugs to look younger. I don't know, but a couple of other just weird things in general, self-mummifying monks and things. So if you are interested, I'm on that show as well. So that's all for me. Anything else? We missed anything? Are we good? Bethany, any last words of wisdom concerning pests?
Oh man, I just wish people would learn more about the animals that live near them. I feel like we often react to animals that we don't want out of surprise and out of fear. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we fear what we don't understand, right? Disney put that in the song. We don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us. And that is like a theme that has run through my head when I was writing this book. And that if
Yeah.
we just understood a little bit more, maybe
whole world
maybe
would be a
we'd be a
better
little
place.
better.
No, I love it. And so again, Robbie Burns really leading us off for the evening. Thank you for being with us for Robbie Burns night, talking about pests and the mouse that Robbie Burns accidentally chased out of its house so many years ago. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for being with us as authors, as guests, as readers, as writers, as part of a family where, if you're weird, you're family.
You got the blue bottle blues when you wake up in the night. Don't make a big mistake, 'cause you can never make it right. When you reach out for the vial, feel the ridges in the glass. It's a matter of survival, baby, better watch your back. There is no antidote. There is no antidote. There is no